everybody, and thank you for being here. This is Barbara, the East Coast Dragon Lady, coming to you from the East Coast. And I'll turn on my camera, that would help. So today, Nicola is joining us from England, from the southwest of England. Am I correct?
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah, southwest England. She'll explain more about that later. And so I just wanted to tell you a little bit about her, and then she can tell us more if she wants to. Also on my Facebook page is your whole resume, which was awesome. Thank you. So Nicola is a certified Reiki master and teacher, shamanic practitioner, moonologer, seventh dimensional transference, EFT, crystal, chakra, and aura healing practitioner. You're also, you've co-authored 2 books, one called She is Unleashing the Divine Feminine Power and The Goddess, where you can read more about her journey with dragons. She combines her modalities to create bespoke healing for soul wisdom seekers as a soul wisdom activator. So I will let you explain the rest.
Oh, thank you.
I'll hand over to Nicola, and then do you want questions at the end?
Yes, if you like. Yes.
Or you can put them in the chat. I will look at the chat as well if you have questions.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes. So I think I've it feels like I've moved on a little bit from, what you just said there. I'm probably embracing the fact that I'm now a dragon channeler, that maybe I didn't like to use that terminology before, because I think it's just, that's part of the journey for me with the dragons has always been about stepping up that next layer of fear and clearing the fear within me to show up authentically, I guess. So I think after the Dragon Summit, and seeing how many people actually work with dragons and how many people are around with them, that now I feel more confident to say, yes, I, embrace the fact that I see dragons and, I work with dragons, I channel dragons and bring all that through. So, so yeah, that's definitely where the dragons have helped me be more confident in that area. So yes, I'm embracing the fact that I'm now a dragon channeler, as many of us are, but I'm actually admitting that. So.
And I think sometimes you're right. Until you've actually said it out loud, it actually, as soon as I said, "Oh, I channel," everything changed. So I get that.
Yeah, it does, doesn't it? It's like you embrace that. It is that I am. It's even to the point where you can go, I am a dragon, and take it another step further. And that almost unleashes and releases all of the, you raise the dragon within you, literally, don't you? As you say that. I think I did one of Diana Cooper's, one of her meditations that she had, and it was, I'm sure that was Atlantis, or to do with golden dragons as well. And immediately when I said, I am a dragon, it was like, yeah, that all of that sort of inner dragon came through. So, but I don't always like to say that too much time, because I think anything that sounds to the normal person who you're talking to about, people just don't get it, do they? They don't get like, are dragons real? What are you talking about? And it doesn't make sense to them. And the more you try to explain it, the crazier you sound.
Right. Or the other thing I found is that people, because so I met somebody on Friday who has known me in my other life, so in my full-time job. She's since retired, and she wanted to meet with me because she knew I'd written a chapter in a book, and she wanted to pick my brains about writing. But she started off the conversation by saying, "Let me tell you a little bit about me." And she needed me to know that she understood my channeling because her mother was like a psychic, and but she felt like almost compelled that it's okay to talk about this because I understand. Because I thought, oh, well, we'll just talk about what it's like to write, but she wanted to hear about the dragons. But I felt she needed it as well, it's okay, you can share it with me because I'm not going to think you're crazy.
Yes.
But you're right. But I think those questions of, well, are they real, and are they this, and are they that? So I did share the other day that, so my brother lives in the southwest of England as well, and he, like dragons, I don't know what you're talking about, right? So the village that he lives in, they walked down the other day to the village, and there was this big unveiling in the village, and he said to me, and guess what they unveiled? It was dragon. He goes, how did you know about dragons? it, yeah, so people, and I said to him, listen, you're living in the middle of dragon country in the
Yeah,
southwest of England. Yeah, he
absolutely.
lives in Taunton.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, but there was a tree that they didn't want to chop down, so they made it a dragon.
Right.
But he was like almost like annoyed with me, like, well, you were talking about dragons and one appeared, and I'm like, that usually happens.
Ah, yes, that is definitely something that I find is when I've talked to people and if they're not sure about dragons or you know they're curious, a little bit curious, and they start asking the questions, it's like after they've spoken to me, then they'll contact me back again and say, I think I've seen a dragon. And it might not be in the real form, but they'll certainly see it in their meditations, or their sleep, particularly their sleep, they'll have it in their dreams and they're connecting with dragons. And they're like, I saw a red dragon that came in. What does that mean? Or you know, then they want to know more, don't they? So yeah, which is great. So yeah, so another thing I think embracing is, yeah, I'm a dragon channeler and I'm a dragon connector as well. And I think that's probably all of us when we're working with dragons, then we bring that frequency through to others to expand them meeting and connecting with their own dragon too, which is great.
Yeah, and I've also found a lot of people that have connected to dragons have also connected to Reiki. I've certainly met quite a few people here that either took dragon Reiki before they did. I've met several people that didn't even touch what I call traditional Reiki, that they just went and did dragon Reiki, and that they don't even know that there's another type of Reiki because that's what they
Ah.
do. Or while doing Reiki, dragons have appeared to them. So
Yes, it does seem like Reiki is that doorway, isn't it?
doorway.
It's a doorway to, I think, anything metaphysical almost. It begins to open you up to, you know, all sorts of your psychic abilities, and then suddenly the dragons do come in. And often it's that red dragon as well, isn't it? Which I know Caroline Mitchell talks about, the red dragon being the first one, and that the red dragon is actually possibly the Master Usui that comes in. I did have a dragon attunement within my, I think it was my teacher Reiki, and that straight after that, that's when the dreams started. Very, very vivid dreams of dragons, and places, lots of different places that I was to go to, in the South Coast and around and near me. So being like Avebury, Glastonbury, just these calls to these places where the dragons are. But I didn't know that at the time. I didn't know why I needed to be there. But I don't know, it was such a pull that I just went. And now if you know, now I will hear and the dragons will just say, go here. And I just get up and I go and I'm gone that day. So I don't question it anymore. I just do it. So,
And you're fortunate that you live in that part of the country, you know, Merlin country, right?
oh yes.
And yes, yeah, yeah.
Yes.
So yeah, so he's already, so I say him, so he's been with me for many years, not so much recently, but every now and I when we start talking about where he lives, he likes to pop up. Or he also likes to be like he'd be at Dragon Thunder because he likes all those people.
Oh, of course. Yes, yes,
Because
he's
you went,
definitely
yeah, you've been
around.
to his cave, right, several times, right?
I've only been there once, only been
Oh,
there once.
once.
But yes, I went there earlier last year. Um, I didn't actually know that, it's going to sound a bit strange, but I didn't know Merlin's Cave was there or that it was to do with that. I just knew I had to go to Tintagel. In fact, I was just going to Cornwall and it was my husband who said, oh, let's go to Tintagel and stay there for a night. I'm like, oh, okay. And then when we were there, it was like, oh, here's Merlin's Cave, here's the castle, here's everything. And it all began unfolding. And whilst we were there, we also went to the St. Nectan's Glen, which again, I hadn't heard of. And that's supposed to be like the third after Glastonbury, the waters that are so sacred or something. And as soon as I got there, it was like the dragon said to me, this is a dragon sanctuary. This is where we come, you know, to be safe. They come through that portal. So Yeah, and I kind of found it because I went into this shop. There was this beautiful, massive, like metal dragon that was in the front of the shop, and the lady was there, and she was taking a picture as well because she was just sort of she wanted to put it in her, to show that this dragon was for sale. And she said, come inside because you'll get a better picture of it. So I like followed her in, and that was when we just started talking dragons and then she like pulled out from under her counter. It was almost like this little map of how to get to St. Nectan's Glen, as though it was like a real top secret. So she was like, if you like dragons, you'll like it here. You must go. So off we went, and we were there within like an hour. So yeah, absolutely love Cornwall. Yeah, yeah. So I
It's
did.
always been a magical place, I think. I've actually had friends that live down there, but even when I was a kid, that was a big thing to go there. I've got like photographs of my brother and I with my parents going to Tintagel. So now I know
Yeah.
why. At the time, I had no idea.
Yes, and I think that's another thing that you realize is that you've actually been to many of the places that you've already been collecting these codes and different things and activations from the dragons without any knowledge of it. And whether it's that you've been going to them because you've had the call without realizing it, or whether it's that you've gone to these places for holidays and that's what's activated, I don't know. But
Yeah.
yeah, I've definitely realized how many of the places I've actually been to throughout my childhood. Like I think like Scotland and areas in Scotland that I went to, the Isle of Skye, the Isle of Man, that's not Scotland, but on the coast of
Yeah.
between Scotland and Ireland and England. So yeah, going to these different places and I mean, the dragons they are the land, aren't they? They are the guardians of the land. And when you
Mm.
work with the land and work with nature, I think that's one of the easiest way to connect with dragons and the easiest way to open your intuition as well.
Right. Yeah.
Really.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think so. Yeah. Well, mine have always been galactic dragons from the outset. But obviously I know the other dragons, but they want me to work with the galactic realms.
Yes. Yes.
But it's the
Yeah.
same thing, except for I connected with my dragons in Middle Earth. So I went on a journey to Middle Earth, and all my dragons showed up and said, "We've been here waiting for you."
Ah,
And from Middle Earth is also deemed to be galactic. So
right.
once I was there, I was like, "Oh, now it makes sense." Why? Because I didn't at the time understand why I was connecting to galactic beings, not
Mm.
just dragons, until the dragons showed up and they were like galactic dragons. So,
Yes. Yes, that makes sense.
mhm.
Yes, I think I often find that it's like when I go into the earth and into the core of the earth, it's like it takes me back out and through, and that's when through a journey, that's when I'll find my way to the galactic realms, as it were, and meet the Palladian dragons and so on, and
Right.
Lemurian, and yeah, I sort of go through the earth to get there,
And
but
then, right.
rather
Yeah.
than
I
going
mean,
upwards.
yes,
So
that's right. Well, that's
yeah, it's
what I
almost like I'm going
realized.
back in time. That's what it feels like you're
Right.
going back
Yeah.
from or like the womb of the earth to the womb of the
And then out.
universe
Yeah.
and spiral outwards. So
Yeah.
that's just
Yeah. I mean, so
how they
again,
take me, but it's different for
right.
all of us.
It's the same, but it's similar, right? So, once I realized that's where they were, it was like,
Yeah.
oh, now I know why, because I'd had messages about, they were living in caves, they were on planets, but it didn't make sense until I met them, the original ones. So yeah.
Yes. Yes. Yes, I found that I'd go and visit different places and then a new dragon would come through. So I didn't meet them all simultaneously, and I'm still meeting new ones now. It seems to happen like that, as opposed to a whole team at once. It's just like sometimes it's one, sometimes I mean Avery brought through 6 dragons, so I guess that was probably the biggest. But the rest of them, it's just like one here and one there. And sometimes I struggle to work out who they are and where they're from. It's almost like they'll show me things and then it isn't till afterwards it's like, oh, I realize I've just met a black dragon guardian or a golden dragon from Atlantis, and I think it's more because they don't necessarily need names, do they? Or they often show me colours, and probably because
Yeah.
I like colour, so I think they just say I'm a red dragon or I'm a black dragon, or
Yeah.
and that helps me sort of
Yeah.
understand where they sit and what they're doing, what they're here to do. But yeah, names, and I don't
Yeah.
necessarily get the names or
So what they actually said to me was, when people have wanted the name of their dragons, they say to me, it's a very human thing that you want to name us.
yes,
So
absolutely.
mine can be somewhat funny. So they decided, they said, okay, we'll give you names. And they gave me all the old fashioned English names like Matilda and Gertrude. And I was like,
Cool.
okay, now you're being funny. But they've told me the same. I identify them as colors more than names.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, I think that's helpful, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's helpful to sort of categorize them, but at the same time, it's almost like they're not really bothered. It's like we're just dragon consciousness, and
Yeah.
you're connecting to us, the dragons,
Yeah.
as we are humans, they are dragons. They don't see that separation. Perhaps it's
Yeah.
more of a union, isn't it? Of
Yeah.
we're dragons here to do this work, and it doesn't matter which one you connect with, it's just a frequency. So
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Fascinating.
Yeah.
So I was commenting before we started on all of your collection behind you of paintings and things. So
Oh
obviously,
yes,
yeah.
yes, and I was saying that. So I started. I've always sort of done little bits of paintings and things, but these some of them are falling off the wall now, but some of them are channeled in. And it was when I sort of met Dina just for a chat, and afterwards it was. I think I'd bought one dragon through, and I was showing her. We were just talking about it, and then after speaking to her, I sort of had this desire to start painting. And then I
Mhm.
painted all these different things that were coming through, and they have different meanings. And I think they're the start of a deck of cards. Um, but I also have another deck now that's, more likely to come out. And that's with all the different channelings and words of wisdom and inspiration that I've got from the dragons. Because my sort of story of me finding Kevin Humphreys with the Dragon Summit was the the dragon sort of said to me, "You're to trust us and to channel for 30 days, and to surrender to the outcome, not worry about what the outcome is." And at the end of those 30 days of channeling and sharing, which obviously gave me more confidence again, just to show that I was working with dragons because I was sharing the channelings and just didn't worry about it, just put it out there. So now those channelings are now going to be put into these cards because they can be quite helpful, just as
Mhm.
just some words sometimes that help you see things from another perspective, or they can be uplifting
Mhm.
words, or comforting words. So that's how they're showing me to put it. And I just got one of the dragons behind. It's not here; it's in another room. One of the dragons that I painted, that came through. And it's funny because when I finished it, I was like, oh, I don't think the dragon looks quite like a dragon, or it doesn't look as right as it's meant to. And Dina's so good because she's just like, well, just what if that's how it's meant to be? Just trust that that's how it's meant to be, and that's
Yeah.
okay. And it's like, oh, okay then. So it takes that sort of that again, it's that humanness of us, isn't it? Where we want to be perfectionists and we want to get it right, and it doesn't look like a painting that someone who obviously paints would paint a beautiful dragon. And it's like, no, it's not about that. It's the frequencies and the codes that have come through with that dragon. If someone were then to meditate with it, they would receive what they need to. So yeah, it's just slightly different, isn't it, when you channel art as opposed to, although I
Yeah.
think all artists are probably channeling it to one form or another, aren't they? But
Yes, but I think it's different. Well, I know that the same happened to me as I told you, but I just did a class with her, and then I was like, wait, I'm doing down, it was downloads and keys and codes. And they actually told me that I was painting on the edge, like different colors. And they said that's where we put the keys and codes. So they would go down and across the bottom. And then sometimes I'll do some other, I mean, they meant nothing to me while I was doing them. And then some of them are just like lots of swirls and different colors, and others are more of something else. Like I said, I downloaded actually the door to a temple, which is what I
I think
saw.
I saw that one. That was lovely. Yeah.
Yeah, and it was like if I'd have, I just did what I felt I should do, and I was like, whoa, that, and and Dina's comment was, that looks like a professional artist, and I'm like, well, I channeled it. So,
Yeah, maybe
yeah,
that was a
I
professional
think that's it.
artist that you
It's
channeled
putting your
from.
ego. It's our ego that gets in the way, right? So we have
It
to put it to one side and just do what comes through.
Absolutely, yes.
Yeah.
And that's always a challenge.
Well, it is, but it's then not to be that self-critic, right?
Mm,
Which is, it's easy to say and hard to do.
yes. Yes, and it's the same, isn't it, when we're channeling anything from the dragons, whether it be the art or the words, or written word, or speaking it, it's you've just got to step out of the way, haven't you, and be that clear channel to allow it to come through. So yeah, that
Yeah.
takes practice.
Yes, and that's been the same with me because I tend to write it. But they actually gave me a similar challenge just a while ago. They were like, okay, we know that you can channel us. So to help me, they said, we want you to pull, when you pull a card each day, you need to channel that person. And I was using a divine feminine deck. And they said,
Right.
whatever card you pull, you have to channel that person. And I was like, okay. But once I started doing it, it was really easy, but it was getting
Yes.
started, and they were, and you have to publish it. So like, not only do you do it, but you put it out. So each day I pulled a card and I've channeled that divine feminine, and it's been fascinating. I've actually enjoyed doing it.
Yeah.
Because they wanted me to, and the next thing I've got to do is not even pull a card. I just need to channel. But I
Yeah.
think that's the bit that I'm sort of, I really do have to put myself to one side. I haven't
Yeah,
quite,
it is a challenge, but
yeah.
that is so dragon though, isn't it? It almost feels like they're forcing you to do something, but it isn't that. It's and you do, I don't know, you respond to it in a different way. I think if it were it's a bit like a loving parent in a weird way, isn't it? Where they sort of say, if you do this, you will be rewarded with this. And
Right,
it's not that you'll be rewarded with gold and glitter and treasure and stuff. It's that you're rewarded with, you know, to level up, aren't you? And more amazing things happen for
right.
you. It's a
Yeah,
bit like if I hadn't stepped in and if I hadn't done the channeling, I wouldn't have then been a speaker on on the summit, and then I wouldn't have met so many lovely people that we've met through this, and to do things like this, to meet you, and then to step up and be like yourself, one of the co-hosts next this year. It's not next year, it's this
yeah,
year. Like we were just saying, it's nearly here.
yeah,
So yeah, it's like yeah, you go for the challenge and you do level up.
yeah.
Absolutely. And it's
And I think that's why they work with us, is because, well, they don't ask to do anything that they know that we can't do, right?
yes.
So that's why they're there going, I'm just going to give you another little push. Right?
It is, isn't it?
Yeah,
But
well, yeah,
that's it. It's a journey of empowerment, isn't it? It's self-power or
right.
self-empowerment, but to be used for good, isn't it? Because we're only sharing more of their messages to help,
Messages.
with the ascension of all of us, isn't it?
That's right. Yeah. Yeah, you're absolutely right. Yeah. But I think it's nice that there's now more people that are sharing that. So you don't feel like you're just that one person.
Yeah.
Because when I first saw dragons, I didn't know anybody or any. I mean, I was like, because I saw them in the sky,
Mm.
and I started to reach out to people and sort of say, "Do you know anything about dragons?" or "How do we see dragons?" And then they say, "Oh, I don't know, but talk to so and so." And then I talked to a couple of other people, and they were like, "Well, I've heard of people that." But the dragons weren't telling me anything to start with. They just appeared, and then
Yeah.
they just left me. And I was like, so why am I seeing you? And didn't say anything because they wanted me to find out.
Yes.
Um, and then eventually they started to talk to me. And I'm like, because I literally, I can remember like talking to myself and going, why would I be seeing dragons? Why am I seeing dragons like playing in the skies? But all the things that had happened before that led up to me meeting dragons. So it all
Yeah.
started to make sense once I connected with the dragons.
Yes. Yes. I think my story is quite similar there
Mhm.
with just seeing the dragons first, seeing them in my dreams, seeing different places, but not knowing why. And like you say, there was no one to talk to, no one, no one to ask, do you
No,
see dragons? And even people who were, channeling, doing Reiki or doing some of these other things that I knew, none of them were seeing dragons.
no.
And then I think that must have been just then that Carolyn Mitchell's cards came out, because I think they came out around the same time as Diana Cooper's, didn't they? I think they were due to bring them out on the same day, apparently, Caroline
Oh,
said.
yeah.
But I think something happens and hers got waylaid for a month later or something.
Mm.
But it's interesting how they were both channeling them at the same
Same
time
time.
and brought out the cards at the same time. So yeah, so that helped because they were there. So it helps you sort of connect in. But I don't know that I necessarily see all the same dragons as and that's the other
No,
thing that's brilliant, isn't it? We all have so many different dragons that we connect with, and we're connecting with them for different
really,
reasons.
right.
um I mean, the dragons that I connected with first were definitely here to help because they were help. I think that's it. They're helping me on my journey of self-empowerment. So they were
Mhm.
here to clear, to cleanse a lot of the chakras, or they like to call them
Yeah.
powerhouses,
It's,
and they were here
yeah.
to clear all of that. And so that you can receive that intuitive information much easier, which then helped me with that next level up, as it were. So that's the dragons, the first sort of set of dragons, and that's what was the beginning of like the intuitive dragon medicine. It was like, receive this dragon medicine and you'll be feeling more empowered, and leading life, for more of a heart-led life, as it were. But I never brought it into fruition, and there was always this little holdback of why it didn't happen, and that was just, there was more pieces to the puzzle. And that's always what seems to happen with the dragons, isn't it? You never quite have the whole picture. and, and you think you're there and you're not, and there's something else, and then there's something else, and
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
creates a bigger
Yeah.
picture. But it definitely
Right.
feels more complete now anyway.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Well, also as well, they off that's what they told me was they forget sometimes that we're human, and they get very excited when we recognize them. So what happened to me a while back was like literally they were flooding me with all of these, like, like you said, it's like they were saying, you need to do this, you need to do this, and when you've done this, you need to do that. And it was coming in so fast. And I was like, whoa, like this is like way too much. And they like stopped and they said, oh, we forget that you're human. And so
gosh,
what they
yeah.
did, they said, we're going to stop and we're going to back off. And then when you're ready, you need to call us in. We won't come unless you call us back. And I was like, oh, okay. And I needed like, and then I was worried because then I got nothing. They literally stopped everything. And I'm like, where did they go? Like what happened? But I really needed like 2 weeks to like ground myself, like literally go, okay, do I need all that information? Because it was just coming like so fast at me. So they promised that they would back off and not throw quite so much at me. But it was, again, they forget that we're human and we can't handle all that. They just get excited.
Oh, they do, don't
So,
they? I think I was in a similar situation. It was like, right, we want you to do this deck of cards. We want you to bring this artwork through. We
right,
want you to write a book, and we want you to create this course. And it's like, I can't do all of it at once. I'm also a human, I'm a mum and I'm a wife, and I've got another business that I run as well as this one. And it's like, I can't do all these things.
yeah,
And I think it was when sort of, again, I think Dina was great with the channeling of the art, because I was like, it comes through so fast when I'm doing it. It just, all the colors end up a really muddy color. And she was like, you can just ask them to slow down and to back off and to just bring it through one at a time. And it's like, oh yes, that's all I need to do is just
yeah.
ask.
And
Um,
and that's what I think is so very true, because when I often get people ask me questions and I'll be like, well, ask your dragon. Like they
hmm,
say, oh, what do you think? And I'm like, well, did you ask your dragon? Because that's why they're there. It's not to
yeah,
like, for can somebody interpret it? It's like they're tell you.
that's
Um,
right.
yeah, but I mean, it was a lesson that I needed to learn, was that I can say no, or
Yes,
could you slow down, or could you? just back off a
I
bit.
think there's a bit, isn't there, that when you get that disconnection because you've asked them to slow down, it
Right.
feels like you're all alone, doesn't
No.
it? It
Yes.
and it
Yes.
feels like, oh, I didn't want you to go completely. Now I'm on my own and I don't know what to do.
Right.
Because you've suddenly
Exactly.
been used to all of this information coming in, and now you've got nothing. It's like you're
Yeah.
on silent.
Yeah.
And yeah, and that
Yeah.
I find that happens anyway, sometimes with the time of the year. I don't know about you, but it's like the dreams, when that veil is thinner at the times of the changeover, the spring equinox, and
Right.
those sort of times, that's when the dragons sort of come in even more so. It's like it's easier for them to communicate
Yeah.
and you just get a rush of it.
Yeah.
Then other times they might go quieter and silent, but yeah, which I find really hard when they're not around. And then I find them
Yeah.
really hard when they are around because it's too much.
Yeah.
There's no happy
Yeah.
medium.
I think you're
Using
right.
us.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. And like, so I'm glad you mentioned that because it just makes sense to me about what I just learned. So I think I mentioned to you that I've been told there's this incoming dragon. So one of
Yeah.
my jobs that I'm not meant to have, like, like some people say, oh, I've got these dragons. So I've never meant to have had just my own dragons. I mean, I've got them. I've got like guardian dragons, but I was meant to be out there and receiving all this stuff. So now I've accepted that. So um, there's there's a whole load of new dragons coming, but they're not new. They're very ancient dragons. And they're coming in really fast, and they're going to be here by this is what they told me this week. They're between the winter solstice and the spring equinox, and spring equinox is March 19th. So they're coming, but what they often do is they say but they don't, like, then I'm like, well, why are you coming? And then I don't get anything. So it's like I've got
And
to
it's
wait to
really
see.
exciting, but then you haven't got any more.
Yeah, I'm like excited, and what they're showing me is, and again, like you talked about colors, the first thing they showed me was like this, like well, they said we are Crayola colors, and I saw this, like somebody was like smearing, if you've got all the paint and you did that, and there's these very vibrant colors, and they're coming from back from when we don't even know, like beyond the galaxies. But they're all, as they're coming, they're gathering other dragons, and they're going to be here soon. And they're here to help us as we do that ascension. They're here with all their beautiful colors to actually help everybody, and they want me to tell everybody that they're coming. So I thought that was interesting. But again, they give me so much, and then there's nothing. Okay,
It's
so I
really
said to somebody,
exciting.
well, that's all I know right now. And they were like, oh. And I'm like, oh, but there'll be more. But just right now, they say, we're still coming. Actually, today, the message I got from them was they were coming at God's speed. That's what they told me.
Imagine that's quite
Coming at God's
fast.
speed.
Oh.
The
Yeah.
speed of God, we're coming. Yeah.
Oh,
So, but
wow.
I think that will be, and again, this is all something to do with Dragon Thunder as well. They've told me it's all about bringing all this new energy in.
Yeah.
And there'll be a lot of people talking about the same, is what they've said at this drag. Like there was the last one, but they were like, you need to listen for the messages that are in, will be a thread through all of these presenters. There will be a thread.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
Yeah, definitely. I've definitely seen lots of different things where people are saying that there's going to be more dragons or there are more dragons coming
dragons coming. Yeah,
from
well,
different
because we
places.
need them, and they want to come and help us because they're
Well, more
concerned
people are
about.
awakening to dragons, so we need more.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they're also really concerned about the earth,
Mm.
and they can only come when we ask them to. But Mother Gaia needs a lot of help right now. So
Yeah.
that's the other reason they're coming, is that
Yeah.
we need to, like, everybody around the world needs to be aware that this, I mean, and there's a lot of them. So I'm feeling like there's a lot to go around, right? It's not just a handful of dragons. There's going to be a lot to go around the world.
Yes. Wow, that
Yeah.
will be
And
exciting.
that's where that golden, because I know you're going to talk about the golden dragons, but that's where that golden thread is as well.
Mm.
Because
Yeah.
around all of it is
I
this
always feel like
golden.
they're brightening. It's as you're talking then, I'm sort of getting in now because I'm kind of seeing it. I could see the colors before you even said about the colors. And I often feel like they brighten Um,
Yeah.
like when they clear and cleanse your chakras, it's like they're
Yes.
changing the colors and they
Oh,
brighten it, don't they? Even more so.
yeah.
And when you were talking then and you said that golden thread, it's almost like, is that going, through the dragon lines,
Yeah.
the earth and helping the earth? And it's like they're here to brighten the dragon
Yeah.
lines on the frequency of it.
Yeah.
That's what I felt. It was almost like seeing
Yeah.
this
No,
color.
and that's
Yeah.
what I was seeing. And it's like, and they're telling me they're vivid colors. They're very adamant that they said that they're the vivid Crayola colors. And if you look at, you've got the Crayola colors here, and then you've got the vivid. They do a whole vivid lot, and they're like the very bright pinks and the bright yellows and the greens. So yeah.
Wow.
So yeah,
Like
be
beautiful
interesting to. But
rainbow.
again, I get like a little bit here and a little bit there.
Yeah, yeah. And maybe more will come through when
Oh,
say the spring equinox, as we get to that time, more information will start coming
yeah,
in. So
yeah.
I know it's just like they show, like you say, they show you something and you just want the rest of the story, don't you? You don't want a piece of it. I want more.
Right. Or could I be in on it so that I
Yes.
won't share it all? Just tell me.
Yes, just let me know. I can keep a secret.
And then
Yeah.
no, you can't. No, because it's
Something like that.
exciting. I think it's exciting when, um, because we've woken up to the current dragons, but to know that there's something coming is sort of exciting as well, right? So
Yes,
yeah, yeah,
definitely.
yeah. So
Oh.
that's cool. Yeah. So more to come as they arrive. But I won't be surprised if more people start waking up to the fact that there is this large amount of dragons coming.
Yeah, yeah. Oh wow.
Yeah,
Can't wait for that.
yeah,
Try and connect into some of that, I
yeah,
think.
yes,
Yeah.
yeah. Well, and I think that's again, as we connect with people and they get to hear about it, and they're like you said, like, oh, I can see those colors.
Mm.
And that's what they've told me. They're more about color and connecting with us, with color. So whatever color we're attracted to. But those of us that see, and those of us that hear, and those of us that actually the word is scribe, will be the first contacts they will make.
Yes, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah. They love color and crystals, don't they?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That is, yeah,
Yeah.
dragons, isn't it?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Oh.
Yeah. So yeah. So cool. Yeah. So what else have you got to share with us? I know you've got some things
Wow.
to talk
Yes,
about.
I have so today I sort of connected, I asked for a message or transmission to come through. And it was the golden dragons of Atlantis that stepped forward. So I do have a transmission that I can share with you.
Yeah.
Um, and they were talking really about this year and the sort of how, we can access the wealth codes and abundance codes. It's well, I can just read the transmission if you like, and that might be easier than me trying to explain it.
Yes.
And then if you want me to, I don't know how you are for time, because I wasn't sure how long we have. I can take you through a short clearing meditation with the black guardian dragons and the golden dragons as well. But I don't know how we
Yeah.
are for time.
So
I can just do the transmission if you like, or
you can do that. And also, so usually it's 60 to 90 minutes, depending on what comes through, because, as you say, when people start sharing, sometimes they've only got like this much, and other times it just, so yeah, we've got Zoom till 3:30. So
okay.
it's like 5 minutes.
Well, I'll share the transmission first, and then I can just take you on a short transmission, a short meditation, which I think will kind of
Yeah.
embed that transmission in. But I'll just do it live, so it's live anyway. But I'll just do it
Yeah.
channeled as well. So I kind of know. I know they want to take us to an Atlantis temple, so I kind of know bits of what's going on, but I'll just see it, and they'll give me
See,
what we need. So yeah.
well, and that's the other good thing. Of course, you just go, okay, what do I need to give them? And they tell you.
Yes, exactly. You just have to trust it, don't you?
Yeah,
So,
exactly.
yeah. So, okay. So I'll read the transmission now. So they say, at this time, you have the ability and potential to tap into the frequency of abundance and wealth in all aspects of your life. This may take a shift in consciousness through a quantum jump of timelines, and you must have courage to claim your power. That will guide you to take aligned action to your heart's desires. These desires must be in alignment with your soul's journey, which will mean a purification and letting go of any aspects that prevent you from accessing your unique abundance. You must believe that anything is possible and that you are the creator of your dreams and can bring them into physical form with ease. Remember that the frequency on Earth has been raised, meaning that manifestation will happen at lightning speed. So be aware of your thoughts. So being aware of your thoughts are prevalent, as the words you think are the manifestations you bring forth, and not all of them will be in alignment with the heart of you. If you dream it, you can create it. It is done, it is done, it is done. So, sorry, sometimes I stumble over the words because it isn't how I talk.
I know. Yes, especially with the older dragons. They
Yes.
talk in Old English, or like Merlin speaks in
Yeah.
Old English. Yes. And he says,
Yeah.
I don't understand all these other words.
That's right. So it makes it hard, doesn't it, when you're
Well,
like,
and that's when you know that. So one of the things I learned a long time ago with channeling is if you try to change it to sound correct, you can't speak it. So it might not sound right, and you try to change it, and you can't. You have to say exactly what you've been given.
yes, yes, you
So
do,
yeah,
don't you? Yes, I kind
yeah,
of learned that now, that I just write it and how it's written, that's it. I just share
and
it. And if
right,
it doesn't make sense, it doesn't matter. It will, it just comes through. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. But people hear it as they're meant to hear it, right? So I know when I first realized that I could channel sort of messages for people, especially when I was doing Reiki, was and I used to try and make it sound sensical. And what I was told was, you can't say that. You have to say, and people would hear and understand, even though it made no sense to me. They would say, "Oh yeah, I understand that," and I'd be like, "Okay," but yes, you can't say it unless you say it how they want it said.
Yes,
But that,
definitely. And I
that's
think even if we don't understand it, you feel it on a can't say that either, cellular level, isn't it? Through the whole body. So you can pick up that frequency that way as well.
yeah,
So
and I think it's a there's a thread there from a lot of people's channelings as well that they say you've got to go to your heart, listen with your heart. Like,
yes, and of course that's the wood dragon, isn't it? The wood dragon this year.
dragon.
And
Yeah,
also the wood dragons, also very much about spring. So when you said about these dragons coming in the spring
spring.
equinox,
Yes.
um,
Oh, yes. Yeah.
yeah, so could be that. It feels like, although we just stepped into the year of the dragon, it's like that the momentum is building. And so perhaps that's what it is. The dragons are coming, and by the
Coming.
spring of the
Right.
wood dragon, that makes sense,
Right.
doesn't it?
Yeah. So that makes, yes. So there you go. You see, there's another connection that I hadn't thought of. So, yeah. Right.
Yeah.
And around, I mean, especially for us, as I said, it feels like spring for the last few days. So it sort of makes sense that, that's shifting as well, that we're not getting the extremes of weather anymore.
Mhm.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes, definitely. The energy is building.
It
Yeah.
is. It's definitely building. Yeah, and I think that'll be. So I don't know. So people on here, we. So Nicole is going to be the co-host for England this year in the Dragon Thunder, and I'm going to be host of the USA part of Dragon Thunder with Kelly Springer, who is out on the West Coast. And Australia, I know they've, Kevin said that the person that was going to do it is moved back to France. But Dragon Thunder this year is July 21st, and it's a 24-hour. So it's starting in Australia, going to England, and then from England coming to the USA. So there's 8 speakers in each of those. So that's if you want 24 hours of dragons. It's
That's going to be really exciting.
gonna be,
Just the sort of
yeah,
waking up in the morning to
yeah.
that
To
because you're on first. No,
no
Australia's first,
last.
sorry.
Yeah,
So the fact that they will have already done their first part of it, and then we wake up and do our bit and then hand over to you. Yeah,
yeah.
exciting. I can't wait.
I know. Yeah, it's also holding that amount of holding that amount of energy is like huge. So yeah,
Yes.
Kevin's going to be the thread between all of those. So yeah,
Is he
so
going to do the whole stint to
so he
hold
says, yeah. So he said,
Wow.
yeah.
Yeah,
I
because
think
he's technology, isn't he? He just knows what he's doing. So he
yeah,
keeps that running really smoothly.
yes, yeah.
So
Well, it did
you need
run
him.
smoothly. Yeah. I mean, last year, like I mean, you can't practice it, right? So we just put it out there and, we ran on time. Nobody was a no-show. So, it was just, it ran smoothly. But that was our biggest worry, that somebody wouldn't show
That's
up
true. Yes.
or
Yes. Or
they get
just
the time
technical
wrong.
problems, not being able to get in, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's
So
really good.
that's, yeah, so that'll be exciting for July. So it's actually, that's the summer solstice, I think, isn't it? The 21st. Isn't that when we're
Yeah,
doing? It's the summer
yes, it will
solstice.
be.
Yeah. Yeah. Because we did it at the beginning of July last year.
Yes, it was a
Yeah.
bit early, wasn't it? Yeah.
Yeah. Because I know it was it was a holiday weekend here for the 4th of July. So
The energy was so high though, wasn't it? Came off it like
yeah.
euphoria.
Oh, I did.
It
Yeah.
took a few days to calm down.
Yes. Yeah.
So,
Well, I sort of, I knew that would probably happen to me, but I didn't actually anticipate how much energy I was holding. So I did take a couple of days off after that, and I like literally crashed and burned by about the third day because it was just like that letdown. Yeah, but the energy is like the vibration, and I don't know if you remember, but a lot of people were after about 2 or 3 people presenting, people started to feel nauseated, had a headache. And I was all the time, I'm telling people, go and drink water. Could you please ground yourself?
yes.
Because people were not grounded. So then you tend to like take off. And I was like, if you don't know how to ground, go outside, put your feet in the
Hands in the
grass.
air.
Right?
Yeah.
Because, we're like, and I think we'll have to remind people again, because especially people that are not used to that energy and they get a blast of it, it can make you very lightheaded and nauseated.
Oh, it can, can't it? Yeah. I
Yeah.
know I got loads of water that day because I stayed and I watched the entire thing live.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
I didn't leave it. Yeah. I was so
Yeah.
impressed
Yeah.
with it. So
Yeah. It's good.
it was
Yeah.
great.
Yeah. So that's good. So what else did you say you got?
Yes, so if you'd like me to, I can take you through just a short channeled meditation
Sure.
with the Black Guardian dragons and the
Mm.
Golden Dragons of Atlantis. So
Yeah.
they had yeah, just to bring through a meditation. It's almost like to seal in the transmission that was just done, I think
Yeah.
is what it's about. So
Good.
yeah,
Thank you.
so I can do that if
Yeah.
you'd like
Thank you.
to.
Thank you.
Okay, so okay, so I'm just going to close my eyes because it helps me to focus and to drop into that energy. So if you want to close your eyes as well, you can. Just get yourself comfortable. A straight back is always good, or if you're laying down, that's fine. And just take a breath. Just concentrate and focus on your breath. And we're just going to breathe in for the count of 4. And then breathe out for the count of 6. So as we're breathing in through the nose, we breathe out through the mouth through pursed lips. So just controlling that breath. In for 4 and out for 6. And then if we follow the breath down to the heart space, this just allows us to drop down into the center of our soul. And you can just imagine stepping into the center of your soul if you like, and just imagine what that might feel like. And this is where you can become, or consciously become, the observer. And then allow that attention from the heart and the breath just to drop down to your root chakra. And because we're working with that dragon energy, I often like to make that cord as wide as your hips. So we're going to drop your grounding cord as wide as your hips, down through your legs, through the bottom of your feet. And we're going to go through the Earth Star chakra, which is 2 or 3 feet below your feet. So just allow that cord to pass through the Earth chakra and down into the crystalline structure of the Earth. And you're just going to see below you that you've got a pyrite crystal there, and you're going to wrap around your cord around this pyrite crystal, and it's just going to help anchor you into the Earth. And here we have the black dragon, guardian dragon, here to greet us. And he's asking that we bring up the frequency of the pyrite crystal, draw that back up through your grounding cord, up, all the way up, passing your root chakra and into your sacral. And here in your sacral chakra, you're going to bring up that energy of the pyrite. And that's a very protective energy. And within your sacral, that black guardian dragon is just going to allow a flame to be lit, an internal flame. And that flame is going to gather momentum up into your solar plexus. And this is just going to help you with strength and stamina. And as you're allowing the breath to go into this area, just going to follow that breath and see how all of the oxygen goes through the blood and into every cell of the body. So we're going to follow that breath along, because this is also where the meridian lines go. So we're going to allow that frequency of pyrite to go through the meridian lines of the breath and the blood, the chi, allowing that chi to go into every cell of the body. And this is actually also, pyrite helps to support the immune system. So it's a real cleansing. Okay, so now the black guardian dragons are leaving us as we step forward, and they're asking us to bring our attention to our third eye chakra, to the space between your brow. And you're just going to sort of see, maybe like you can sort of see it as a screen, like a picture screen just in front of your eyes. And on that screen, you're going to see the gates of the golden temple of Atlantis. And they're guarding the gates are the golden dragons. And these golden dragons are beckoning us forwards, and they're asking us to walk up the steps into the temple, to the doors of the temple. So you just begin walking up, up, and up to the top. And now you're standing at the front of the doors of the temple. And the dragons, golden dragons, push the doors open for you. And when you step in, the entire temple, all of the walls are surrounded by the pyrite crystal. And you can just see it glistening there. And embedded in the walls are pyrite balls that are glowing with a flame. And this just allows you to be able to see into the temple. You follow the dragons, the golden dragons in, and there you see it's like a bed, a pyrite bed, but it's very comfortable. It's not jagged, it's been smoothed off. And you just lay yourself down onto this bed. And as you do, you just feel very safe, very protective. You can really feel that frequency of protection from the pyrite crystal. And as you're laying there, the golden dragons surround you in this golden flame. This golden flame is really helping to clear and cleanse any thoughts or beliefs that you may have that you do not have access to these abundance and wealth codes that are actually, in fact, your birthright. So they're blowing and cleansing away those thoughts. So this flame instead is actually helping you to feel and sense into this rebirth energy and connecting you to those wealth and abundance codes. So they're showing you that, you know, you shift those timelines into the abundance codes, but actually they're already activated, they're already within you because they are your birthright. So they're just activating them now. And they're activating these wealth codes and abundance codes by placing a pyrite crystal within your solar plexus. So just take that energy in for now. And just feel and sense any healing that is taking place whilst you are wrapped up in this beautiful flame from the golden dragons. So that clearing has taken place and the activation and connection to the wealth and abundance codes has taken place. And that flame begins to fade away. But internally, you know that that flame is still burning within. So anytime you get those thoughts that come up that you think you can't access abundance or wealth, you know that that flame is internally building and is activated. So you can just think back to that and just feel into your solar plexus and feel that pyrite crystal. That's what they're guiding me to do. And the golden dragons are asking you to step off the bed and you're just feeling lighter, more empowered. You can feel that strength and that stamina that that frequency of pyrite has given you. And they're also saying that just over the coming days that your immune system will feel supported, but particularly if there's anyone, I don't know if there's anyone here, but that has lung or asthma or coughs or anything like that, those sort of coughs and colds that we often get, it's like that's going to shift and be cleared. Or maybe you won't get coughs and colds, you know, if you normally do. It's like they've cleared that. So they're asking you to step down off the bed and to walk back towards the doors. And as you step out through the door and go down, down, down those steps, the doors of the temple close behind you. These golden dragons then take you back to the black guardian dragons. Until you feel and sense that pyrite crystal back beneath your feet. So we thank the golden dragons and we thank the black guardian dragons. And then we just draw up our grounding cord back up from untangling it from the pyrite crystal and drawing it back up through your legs to your grounding, to your root chakra. And then just begin to become conscious of your breath again. So breathing in and out. Become conscious that you're back in the room, back on your seat or laying down, wherever you may be. Maybe begin to wiggle your fingers and wiggle your toes. And when you feel ready, you can open your eyes. Maybe if you want to, drink some water to ground. Yeah, so I think they were showing that it's like that transmission has been cemented in, I think. Yeah, I don't know how anyone felt. Does anyone want to share experiences or don't
Yeah.
know?
If you're still awake, if anybody wants to share.
So that was quite fast. I don't normally do them that quick, actually, but it was just, oh, we're just going to do a quick clearing. So it was like, yeah, sometimes they do it like that. So even my energy feels a little bit wobbly, actually, which is why I'm saying to drink water.
Yeah. Well, I think the grounding. So that's certainly so today, that's what I was told, that people need to remember to ground themselves. I mean, I say it all the time, but that particularly for the next couple of weeks, that's what they said, that we need to be very grounded because we're at the beginning of the Lunar New Year, but we need to be very grounded. And so many people forget to ground themselves, right? They do fabulous work, but they're not grounded.
Yes.
And then that makes you sometimes nauseated. And yeah.
Yes, it does. And I think that's how they'll often show me, is to anchor around different crystals and to get different frequencies. But part of that is to go deeper than, with your grounding cord, because the dragon frequency is so,
Right.
like you say, it's so light and pulls you upwards. It's like when you ground so much deeper into the earth. It's not even the earth's core. It's just like, but it's deeper than that crystalline structure. Although it probably isn't as deep as the core, but it's so you can anchor around something. Definitely that, taking your cord, because often we think when someone says, oh, ground your cord, you often think of just a thin silver or a thin thread, don't you, going down? But they're like, no, really anchor down right from the hips, nice and wide, and take it right down. So yeah, that's one of the things they've shown me. So I tend to do my meditations like that now, so that you're anchored in at that point. So yeah.
Yeah, definitely. So I'm a Pisces, so I tend to I can live like off planet. So what they showed me is I have to put both like thick roots down from my feet and then from my spine, but then I have to put out stabilizers to make sure I'm firmly here.
Right.
But the other thing as well, and they've been telling me this for a long time, that the deeper we ground ourselves, the higher vibrations we can reach. So if you do it regularly, you can reach high vibrations. So
yeah,
if you do it as a regular practice, because I'd ask, like, well, how come I can reach these frequencies without too much effort? And they said, because you ground yourself every day. And I do that same thing, go as deep as I can, wrap it around a rock so I'm really anchored. So
yeah. I think a good way, because often we think, oh, I've got to spend all this time doing this, but a really fast way, I'll often do it when I'm in the shower. You're up in the morning, you're having a shower, and at that point, that's when I kind of open up and, anchor down, cleanse the body at the same, because you're cleansing anyway, so it's very easy to sort of open the chakras, cleanse it, and and it just takes a couple of minutes then, doesn't it? And anchor down for the day, and you're it feels good.
yes.
So.
Yeah, you're right. And I often tell people it's like cleaning your teeth, right? You don't leave the house without doing it. So don't leave the house without grounding. So
Yeah.
Tina, so Tina, you have your hand up.
Yeah, in the chat, Alessandra is trying to share, but her video isn't working. And I just wanted to let you know to see if she had anything to share. Right now, I'm quite enjoying it. I kind of went somewhere else in the meditation, but it did involve some growth, which actually involved sending those anchors down numerous times of the day. Yeah, and grounding's not a one day or one night affair. It's all day long. Whenever something's aggravating, send a ground down. You can actually ground the other people and things that are around you, like a dog when you're trying to meditate. I'll share that because I just learned it, and then I'll shut up and see what y'all want to go with.
Oh, wow, that's brilliant.
And so can you write in the chat, Alessandra? Because when I look, I can see you've got a mic and a camera, but I don't see you. So,
I'll test the audio. Can you hear me?
oh yes, can hear you now. Yeah.
Yeah, I apologize. I'm on a new computer, and so the video doesn't work. But what I wanted to share was there was a lot of good things. I saw Strong Me, the big golden dragons, and I think even though it was quick and it was really powerful, I sort of dozed a bit, which I know means I access more of it. Um, I saw there was something about, weren't you saying codes? I just know that we were accessing codes, but it was interesting for me to access my own. They were bursting out of me and then they were popping up like soap bubbles bursting. And then then the golden codes were accessible. I thought that was funny.
Wow.
Yeah.
I like that.
That's powerful as well to see your own bubbles.
Yeah, so
Definitely.
just thank you very much because I think you said it was short and fast, and I was like, well, it did the trick. It was really helpful.
Mhm,
Oh, and then there was something else of you were mentioning abundance, right?
mhm.
Yes.
Yeah, I felt that. It's like a lot of those golden codes that were coming out was unexpected ways of feeling abundant and rich. Um, it's like I got to see it. Yeah. So thank you.
Oh, wow.
Thank you.
It's because often we think of abundance and wealth in terms of money, but of course, when dragons talk about abundance and wealth, they're talking about all aspects of our life, aren't they? You know, abundance in relationships and just the way that we live our life, isn't it? And being in that gratitude and thankfulness of life for the good things that are here. And that brings in more abundance, doesn't it? Being aware of and having gratitude for those things, it brings in more of that. Whereas if we're in that other sort of energy where we're thinking about things that aren't going so well, then we're almost attracting more of that. And I think particularly this year, we are seeing we have that potential to step into those abundance and wealth codes. So we want to be really focused on what we're drawing into us. And that's their message really that they were giving across. So yeah.
Yeah. And equally, just be careful of your thoughts because you might manifest those as well.
That's right. Yeah, which is kind of what they said, wasn't it? Like it's
Yeah.
lightning speed. So
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah,
But I think, like I said earlier, I think everything is speeding up as well. So you saying that was a quick meditation, sometimes that's all we need, right? So
yeah,
yeah.
yes, that's true.
Mhm.
Yes.
So it
I
was
think
perfect.
sometimes it's nice to go deeper. Sometimes I'll do a meditation and it could be up to an hour, but that's really if you're going to go deep, and usually you will go to sleep with that one because I usually run transference healing behind as well, which is like a seventh dimensional frequency. That was channeled by Alexis Cartwright, so that's something that I usually run in the background as well. And it almost has an anesthetizing effect, so you often do go to sleep, but the reason is because more healing is taking place on that cellular level. So yeah, so that's quite good to have a long one every now and then. But yeah, so, you know, maybe we don't need that anymore this year. Maybe that's what the dragons are showing, that it could just, you know, we can clear and cleanse as fast as we can draw and attract things to us as well. That's definitely something that they were showing, because like last year I was doing all these full moon full moon workshops and meditations with my clients in my healing room, and I think I got to about September, October time, and I just had this overwhelming, like, oh, I'm not going to do this anymore. I'm not doing full moon anymore. We don't even need to work. It's not that we don't need to clear, because we do need to clear, but it's like, that's not where our focus and attention needs to be on. All that heaviness of the stuff we need to get rid of. It's now bring your focus into abundance and into the new moon, and that frequency that the new moon brings through, bring through the manifestation and what it is you want to focus on, because that's going to happen much quicker than constantly going back and focusing on what's my wounding all the time. That was something, that shift in energy, I could feel it coming, and where we're at now, and it feels the alignment to begin that work with new moon energy.
Right. Yeah. And like we said earlier, like when the dragons say you're done, you're done.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And I've had people already, they were like, oh, we're really missing your full moon. But it was at the point where, people would be very emotional, and because they were having heavy healing, obviously they were receiving, but it was like, no, that energy's done. We don't need to keep going back to, bringing all that stuff up again. It's like, we don't even need to go there to clear it. We just can. It's almost like that. We can just say it's done, and it's done. It's gone, but yeah. So that seems to be the energy they're in, or at least showing us that energy of the potential. It's like potential energy, isn't it? It doesn't mean we're all there yet. And because we are human, we do forget, and we do forget our thoughts, and we do have our bad days and so on. So yeah, we're not all perfect. So yeah,
it's true. Yeah. Does anybody else have anything else they want to share? Don't have to be shy.
I'll share. I wrote in the chat, but first off, thank you. That was beautiful and amazing. When I got down and was laying in the pyrite bed, one, I did not expect it to be soft and comfortable, and yet it was. But while I was laying there, it was like the codes were coming up through the golden bed and like embossing, almost like raising up out of the bed. And when I got up out of the bed, I was wrapped in a hooded golden cloak, and that's how I walked out. And when I got outside of the temple, that's where the black dragons were, and they had me climb on back, and they flew me around until, like, it was very strange, but the golden cloak kind of just absorbed, and I don't know if it absorbed into me or became part of me. But once that was, you could no longer see it, but you could like feel the glow from inside. They returned me back, and that's when I came back to join all of you. So short and sweet, but very powerful. Thank you so much.
Oh, that's lovely. Brilliant. Yeah, I definitely think there was, and like you say, that's a lovely way of saying it, that absorbing it within.
Yeah.
I think what they were trying to do was to put those codes inside the solar plexus, and the which of course pyrite does as well, doesn't it? It helps to support the sacral and the solar plexus. So it makes sense that they would sort of place it in the area. And I think it can be used to ignite fire as well, isn't it? So it makes sense that they're using that flame as well to clear and cleanse. But yeah, there are definitely quite a few different codes in there. The energy, I don't know, the energy felt quite strong. I had a lot of activity. So I'm finding it quite hard sometimes to balance the dragon energy. It feels like when you're it's sort of flowing through you like that. You can see I come up all rash. That's usually what happens when the energy flows through. It's like, oh, yeah, it goes like, oh, this big rash comes through.
Yeah, I mean, they were certainly big dragons. I mean, I saw them as like when you were saying they were at the door to open. I mean, it was a huge door because they were so enormous.
Yes,
it's like enormous energy. It was like, you're right. It was like it just like hit you.
Yes, I haven't worked with them before either, so I don't really know what to expect.
The pyrite. So I experienced it. Was it last week or week before in a class I'm taking that I got taken really fast into the future. I didn't know it was going to happen. I was just literally picked up and like thrown into the future. And when I came back, I was like travel sick. I was nauseated, and at the time, the person that so when it happened, they were like, close your eyes and look at your feet. That helps sometimes. But this last time, I did put a purple bubble in my stomach, and that helped. But I think the pyrite helps with that traveling as well. So that makes sense, because sometimes they move us really fast, right? So,
Yeah.
or we don't know it's happening, and then that can like upset our equilibrium. But I didn't feel that. I felt very grounded with that pyrite.
Good. Yes. Yes, I think it was probably more, it was just running through me. So,
Yeah.
so yeah. So yeah.
Yeah. But it was and it was perfect time, sort of, to get in there, get it, and come back.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
So we've all got a bit of pyrite then. Or
Yeah.
sometimes it's worth getting a bit of pyrite
Yes.
and
Yeah.
working with it as well, isn't it? Holding
Yeah.
it, meditating with it and seeing what comes up.
Yeah.
Might bring through some more codes.
Yeah.
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 Normally
That was
got these
nice.
somewhere.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mhm.
So we've got the last 10 minutes. Anything else you want to share with us before we leave?
So yeah, I mean, the only thing I've got to share is that I do have this, finally, this intuitive medicine dragon course that's now evolved into the shamanic dragon priestess, and that involves codes of the Empress and the Alchemist, and the dragon and the priestess. And these are sort of, it's more of a spiral journey. It's an entire year, and it's drawing in the different dragon codes. So the dragons really are doing the clearing and the cleansing and the empowerment version of it. And we spiral around every 4 weeks. So you'll do 1 week with the dragon, and then 1 week with we work with tree wisdom, and that is the Empress codes, because the Empress, we also work with the archetype, the feminine archetypes, because the Empress is, you know, the connection to the earth. She's the earth goddess and goddess Sophia. And we sort of work with her through the feminine codes of our own aspects of our feminine, I guess, bringing all of that into empowerment and balance. So that's kind of the Empress codes, because you know, you want to be in your sovereignty, and then once you're in your sovereignty, you begin to work with the priestess, or you become the priestess. And this is for you if you want to really access your intuition and your psychic abilities. And we work with the priestess through regular monthly circles, so that we actually practice with each other with either evidential mediumship or different divination tools. So we actually get to practice, you know, to our priestess skills, as it were. And that's the other part of the divine feminine. The Empress and the priestess run together, but it's like you clear and you get your Empress codes first before you move into the priestess, as it were. And the alchemist, of course, is Merlin, because Merlin, the ascended master, is the supporting energy behind the dragon and behind the course as a whole. And it's also the balance of all of the elements within and without. And the alchemist is also the transformation that takes place, and the alchemy that takes place from where you begin at the beginning to the end of the course, as it were. And also, of course, the supporting transference, seventh dimensional healing that takes place every 4 weeks. You get this new transmissions and healings to support all of that alchemy as well. So yeah, so that's the dragon part of it. We meet 13 dragons. It's all about 13, because 13 is the divine feminine. So there are 13 dragons to meet, 13 trees, and 13 feminine archetypes as well, and 13 power animals, because of course it's shamanic. So we go on these different journeys as well. So yeah, so that's happening
when's that
in
starting?
6th of March.
Oh, March.
The doors open on the 6th of March, although we won't come together for ceremony until part of it's recorded and part of it is live. So the main ceremony starts on the spring equinox. I don't have the actual date yet. It'll be in or around the spring equinox, but you'll get access to the course on the 6th of March. And there'll be a few things to prepare yourself for before it actually starts. So
yeah.
it finally feels complete.
Yes, yeah. Well, especially if you've worked with the dragons, as we said, they take their time or they give it to you really fast. So,
Yes.
so is it on your website, or do you have like a flyer or anything about it yet?
No, I mean, you can join the Soulful Wisdom Academy and library. I don't know. I can.
I could
Or
put that
can
in.
I put it in my?
You can put it in the chat. Yeah.
I don't actually know what the
Oh,
library.
you can always send it to it. Send it to me.
Yes. I mean, you can join the library, and inside that you get all the dragon channelings are in there anyway, and some other bits and pieces. And you get a monthly like a monthly energy update as well in there. And I usually add something to it each month. So in there will be information. There isn't at the moment, but there will be. That's where I will put the information about the shamanic dragon priestess course. So yes, because I'm just sort of creating at the moment all the sales pages and all the bits, so I don't have any links at the moment to it.
Yeah, but once you get them, if you send them to me, I'll share them as well on my pages. So yeah, because I think that sounds really fascinating.
Thank you. That's very kind.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
It feels like it's honestly it's been 3 or 4 years in the making. It's just ridiculous. But it was like the Dragon Intuitive Medicine. I had that piece and it was like, well, where's the rest of it? Or why is there more? And it wasn't quite there. But I think this is why I ended up doing the tarot course with Caroline Mitchell, because it's when I went with her, it wasn't that I needed to do the tarot because I'd already done the tarot a few times. It was actually working with the archetypes, and it was like, oh, hang on, I see how the Empress goes and the Priestess goes and the Alchemist. It's like it's actually the first part of the major arcana, and the journey that you go on, which I hadn't even realized either. So
right.
and it's almost like the dragon is us, or because you awaken your internal dragon as well as the dragons outside of you. So it's almost like you're going on that fool's journey, as it were, for the entire year, but you are going on it as the dragon, I guess.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. I'm sure it'll be great transformation as well from the beginning to the end. Yeah.
So lots of, it's very experiential, so it's difficult to explain really, because you have to actually do it a bit like today. It's very much like that. There'll be lots of sort of transmissions and meditations. That's how the alchemy works, I guess. So difficult to say how it's going to happen for you. It's an individual journey, isn't it? We have our individual.
So that's actually what I'm doing with Kelly Springer. She is doing a similar thing, but has only done it for 7-8 weeks.
Right.
And it's almost like you show up and like, what we're going to do now. But I've learned a lot. So we've gone on journeys, but I learned that I was an ancient, which means that I'm somebody from way back. I'm got grandmother energy. So it's been a complete eye opener for me, because it's opened up so much more. And I was just talking with her yesterday about where she wants me to work with her to what we're going to do next steps. So I think there's a level 2, because we've been doing the temples of light. And a lot of these are temples that have never been found before. So it's like going on a spiritual journey each week, and then finding something that nobody else has found. So but I think more people are doing that in terms of doing I'm going to teach you. It's let's meditate, let's go on a journey, and then everybody gets, and interestingly a lot of people get the same, right? So it's you can go on a meditation with each other and everybody gets a little bit, and then it reminds you, oh yeah, I saw that as well. Or so it's there's that connection that is made.
Yes, that's what I love as well. Like you say, when you all see the same things, and that brings again that confirmation, doesn't it, that what you saw was real. So it's not all just your imagination.
No, so that's good. Yeah. So, oh, look at that, right on 3:30.
Ah.
So again, it's been great having you. Again, if people want to learn more about you, go to Soulful Wisdom Academy. Once I get any information, I can put it out into my group as well. But good luck with that. And because we'll be meeting with Kevin as we do all of this stuff, right? So
Yes.
we'll be meeting again. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
thank you.
So,
It's been lovely.
yeah.
Lovely to meet you.
Yes, and it's been
Thanks for
great.
having me.
Everybody else being here, thank you. And for those that couldn't make it, this is going out. People that signed up will get this on Zoom. So in the next day or two, I'll be emailing it out, and it will go up on YouTube as well. So, and I'll send you a copy, Nicola, as well.
Oh, thank you.
Okay.
That's lovely.
Yes. So again, thank you, and I'll see you again.